Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the 212A, it's the Tier 9 Soviet SPG, located on the south spawn of Cliff, and it's under the command of talon1958. And this is a 2 replay video, and you're going to see Talon in this Arty and the same Arty on a different map. Game started. Now, as you may have seen in the previous video we did, Talon is in a competition with Angelina at the moment, and well, they both seem to be doing rather well, but Angelina's actually doing better than Talon, which means he has to wake up at the weekend and tend to the needs of Remy, whilst Angelina gets a lie-in. Okay, well, the game started and he's aiming towards the road leading up to the lighthouse, which is what I do every time on Cliff, because there's always some light tank thinks they can get up top and get loads of spots in, and so he's hoping that one of the enemy light tanks is going to make their way in that direction. We should see one very shortly. And yes, there he is. It's actually a CS-53 and he's not going up to the top. So Talon fires around it, hits the rock face, unfortunately. Okay, now the standard reload for the 212A is 37.39 seconds. And I think Talon's managed to decrease his to just under 30 seconds or thereabouts. We'll get to see how many very shortly. IS-3. Oh, he's moving. Lead the target. Rounds out. Oh, he hit him. Yeah, we saw two tracers hit the IS-3 while he was on the move, and neither produced an explosion, so we know we got direct hits there. Okay, he's moving through the bushes. He actually has picked this position before for shooting from this corner, using the same bushes, but oh, it's got some nice targets now. It is a good position because it actually does give you lots of options when it comes to shooting at the enemy. I think he's going to put a round into that Leopard PTA, but he loses sight of him. There was a T-44 there as well, and there's an explosion, so he didn't hit the T-44. Now, the K212A is based on the KV220, as you know. It's the same hull. They were going to build it, but they were so busy building tanks that it sort of like got put to one side, and eventually they decided not to go ahead after all. In fact, towards the end of the war, a lot of projects were shelved simply because they were producing too many vehicles for actual battle rather than experimental prototypes and the like. It's not that the Soviets didn't produce prototypes, they did, but there was a dire need for tanks, and as a consequence, I think rather than let Joseph Stalin down, they would rather pump the tanks out than spend too much time looking into new prototypes. Okay, got the T-44 and the IS-6. Well, he damaged both of them, and it's a sizable amount of hit points there from that shot. 561 hit points, not bad. Still don't have a readout for his reload time, but I'm pretty sure these mods will actually tell us sooner or later exactly how long he's got. But he's fired the round in, and it landed exactly where the aim point was, so oh, now we can see his reload time is 29.57 seconds. It showed up as soon as he actually came out of aim view. So he's dropped the reload time by about 7 and a bit seconds, 7.5 seconds. Obviously, to do that, you'd need vents, a rammer, a gun laying drive, a BIA crew. All of those things really do help, especially if you can get the innovative ones, the bonded rammers. They really do improve it. Oh, we could get the kill here, and he does! Yep, got the Leopard prototype. He was low enough hit points, and there goes the T-44. Okay, you can see from this little corner, being around the corner means he can actually shoot at these guys over here. Although, a bit difficult shooting between the buildings. The CS-53's decided to go up on top of the hill after all, so that's what I originally said he might do. But he hung around at the bottom, rounds out, direct hit, tracks him on the road. Oh, he's taking damage as well. And loads of stun assists coming there. Or at least I thought he earned stun assist, but it's not showing up in the log at all. We can hear destruction going on over here, which kind of indicates that the Waffenträger auf Panzer IV is moving about. Over on the cliff side, we've got that IS-6. He's pulled back from his usual position. Remember, he was alongside the T-44, a bit further up. Oh, kill shot! Lovely one, got him behind the rock. And he's looking around for another target. He's trying to pick right one. His team are running away with this at the moment. They're 4 tanks ahead of the enemy. And he's now looking to counter battery. Now, it really does help on counter battery if you go to overhead mode, because it's much easier to see the tracer and see where they originate from. If Wargaming bring about the new changes they're talking about at the moment from the sandbox, it won't be so easy to locate the precise location for counter battery, because the tracer is actually going to emanate a lot further on from the vehicle. So about, well, 30 to 50 meters. Oh, it looks like one of their Artys just fell off the cliff into the water and he's going to drown. There's the M53, M55. Kill shot! Nice kill. There's the Waffenträger. You still haven't seen the M53, M55 drown, but I suspect he will, because he did fall off the edge of the cliff. I think he was just trying to be too clever there. And he hasn't drowned yet, so he's probably found a ledge that he can rest on. Okay, the Waffenträger's down. Or is it the Waffen? No, it's a Borsig, that one, wasn't it? Not the Waffenträger. The Waffenträger was killed anyway. Okay, the Mauschen is in a little corner there, so in order to get at him, Talon's going to have to change angle, and he's going to have to move up and potentially put himself behind one of those rocks. Now, in a previous battle with the gorilla, or previous video with the gorilla, you saw him move up, but he kept to the left side or the west side of the map, and it meant that he wasn't protected when he shot. And there's still one enemy Arty out there, an M53, M55. He's looking for the Arty, but no, he's on the cliff side. Talon, he's on the cliff side. He's the last one alive. They're marking on the map where he is. He's in grid square B7, right on the cliff edge. I'm not sure Talon's seen that, but I didn't notice in the game on cliff during the sandbox that in actual fact my opposite number had been killed, and I was still looking to counter battery him when he was already dead. So I know what Talon's doing at this moment. He's looking for somebody who's already dead. No, he's not there. He's actually on the cliff edge, and I doubt you'll be able to get at him actually, because there's not many places on the map you can go to land a shot down the side of the cliff. In fact, I rather suspect somebody on our team is actually going to have to go over the edge and try and dislodge him from his ledge, or start capping. And there, they found him. Yes, he is on the ledge. Oh, look at that. Oh, M53, M55 fails. Yeah, that's a fail. He's drowning. I don't think there's much they can do. Yeah, our guy's drowned. Our Indian Panzer's gone over the edge as well. And he's killed the M53, M55, or rather the 274 did. So it is a victory. So that's the end of the first game. Let's have a look at the second. In the second replay, you can see that talon1958 is on the north spawn of Tundra. Okay, game started. Now he's headed off to the west, which probably means he's going over to the corner. Because there's a nice little spot in the corner where you can actually shoot either to the south or to the hill. Now, if Wargaming do bring in the changes that they've been talking about, it's going to be very bad for Arty, but it's also probably going to be very bad for Wargaming as well, because I anticipate they're going to lose a sizable number of their player base. And although some of the tank drivers have said, oh well, who cares about Arty players leaving the game, I think Wargaming's bank balance would be concerned about it. I think their bank managers will be wondering why they're starting to get less money, less profit. And I think Victor will be a bit concerned if all of a sudden he wasn't making as much as he usually does. Okay, it looks like Talon's going to be shooting to the south. And his first target is going to be an IS-7. There's a Super Conch back there and an Object 705. And his first round lands between the Conqueror and the IS-7 for over 654 hit points. That's quite a sizable bit of damage from just one shell. Next target is T110E3. Almost ready to shoot. Rounds out. It landed to the left and behind him, and that's why it only did splash damage of 162. I think that was bad RNG from that shot. Oh, the E3 just got hit on the mantlet with an HE round. Quite a sizable hit at that. Okay, he's getting ready for his next shot. Rounds out. Direct hit. And this time round he actually hit to the right of the mantlet. You can see there's a new hole there in the casement. Okay, the 705's pulled ahead. He's in the new Polar Bear skin, that 705. The Battle Pass skin. Okay, going for the E100. Rounds out. Oh, side of the turret. You can see where it landed. That's bound to have taken down a crewman. Probably their gunner. There he is. There's the mark. Non-penetrating shot. He's going to go for another one now. Changed his target. He's going to hit the Super Conch, I think. Hits the front left side or front right side from our point of view. And the E100 just killed our E75. With 4 tanks down, this battle is not going well. We do have the hill, but the enemy seems to have a large number of guys trying to get through this side of the game. And they've got the centre of the map as well. Okay, Talon's about to be loaded. I think he's going to go for the E3. Rounds out. Another direct hit, this time on the upper front plate. And that shot did 234 hit points of damage. We're now down 7 tanks, 8 tanks. Oh dear, this is not looking a good game. It's looking to be a bit of a walkover. Okay, he's going to go for the Super Conch. Rounds out, blind hit. No, it goes long. He's trying to get a shot on that E100. And there's the 705. He's popped out and he's trying to engage our guys frontally. There's the 2684. And now we've got a Conqueror behind them as well. And Talon's doing the best he can, but there's only 3 left on his team, including him. This game's going to be over momentarily. He just got stunned by the enemy Arty. Yep, the enemy Arty landed a shell to his left there. You can see the impact point on the ground. He can't stay here anymore because the enemy Arty knows where he is. In fact, there's only 2 left on his team. Oh, no, there's only him left on his team now. The last one The Object 705A on his team has just got killed, so he's all alone, and he's facing 14 enemy tanks. I don't think he's going to survive this somehow. Not unless they all line up and let him kill them one at a time. No, I think he's going to lose this. He tries to get the shotgun, but it doesn't work. So that's another game over, unfortunately, in a loss. Will Talon ever get a lie-in at the weekend ever again? I do not know. Let's have a look at the end of battle results. In the first battle on Cliff, Talon managed to get a third-class tanker in this game, as well as a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 14. His win rate in the game was 2,825, but he didn't get any other medals in this one. Let's have a look at the team score and see where he was. Well, he actually got the second highest damage in the game. The Indian Panzer did exceptionally well, got a Leather Slaves medal and 3,722 hit points, but it wasn't enough for a high caliber because he didn't have 20% of the enemy hit pool. And Talon was next with 2,486, and the third highest was the Malshan on the enemy team with 2,252 hit points. When it came to kills, it was shared between Talon, the Indian Panzer, and the Object 274A, the guy who killed the last Arty. They got 3 kills apiece. The 274A got a Piscucci's, and the Indian Panzer got that Leather Slayers, as I mentioned. When it came to base XP, though, you can see it was the Indian Panzer and the Object 274A that did the best, with 1,312 to the Indian Panzer, 1,053 to the Object 274A, and Talon, I'm afraid he only got 789 in that one, probably because he didn't get enough stun assists to actually bump the score up. Now that's a foreboding of what might happen if Wargaming reduces the amount of stun on the standard ordinary HE shells. What's going to happen is that Arty won't generate as much stun, they won't generate as much credits or much XP, and therefore they will never be able to score or perform as well as they did in the past. Let's have a look at the detail report. 10 shots fired, 4 direct hits, 1 penetration, 10 splash. Damage of 2,486 hit points, which, as I said, was the third highest damage in the game. Was it second highest? I think it was second, wasn't it? It was second highest damage in the game, yes. It was second highest damage, but I'm afraid he didn't get that much in the way of stun assist. Only 458 hit points off 8 stuns, and his credits were 34,983 credits. He got 50,000 credits for the first win of the day, and that brought up a total of 84,983 credits. After ammunition resupply, he took away 65,883 credits. Now, if you deduct off that 50,000, that means he only actually made 15,000 credits from a game where he got the second highest damage in the game. Only 15,000. This is a tier 9 Arty. Normally we'd be generating huge profit from a game like that, but with the reduction in the amount of stun, and that's what's going to happen if they introduce the changes, this is going to drastically affect Arty's ability to remain in the game and to be profitable, and therefore that's going to reduce the enjoyment for the Arty player, because after all, he's going to be performing as well as he could in the past, but he's just not going to be able to get the stun assist because his stun doesn't last as long and he doesn't do as much damage. 1,183 XP times 2 for the first victory, took away 2,367 experience points altogether. So I think this shows what actually might happen. Even if you get a win like this with the second highest damage, you still end up not scoring as much as you used to in the past. Let's have a look at the second battle and see how he got in that one. Well, that was the defeat on Tundra. And as you can see that he only got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 14 in total. And he also got a win rate of 2,036, which is slightly down from the previous one. That was 2,825. So it's a reduced win rate on this one. He didn't get as many shots in on the enemy and didn't do as much damage as he was like to. 2,784 hit points made him the highest scoring player on his team, but he was beaten by the Udes on the enemy team with 3,985, their Leopard 1 3,747, their Object 705A 3,715. In fact, you'd have to go all the way down to their 4th place, the Standard B with 3,343, before you get to Talon with 2,784. So he's actually, if you look at it, he's just in between those two. He's in 5th place on damage, but he did do a lot of work. He was putting in the effort, but unfortunately he's just not earning the damage, not earning enough damage to make it profitable. If we look at the number of kills, we can see that the enemy team had one player with 3 kills, the Leopard, a number of players with 2 kills. I'm afraid Talon didn't get any kills at all in that game, but he did get some damage. But when it came to base XP, you can see that the enemy team wins, with the Udes getting 1,111, the Leopard 1 getting 1,035, their standard B 933, and Talon 268. Very, very low indeed, but he was on the losing team. But even though he did the 5th highest damage, was it 6th highest damage? To remember again, it's the 5th highest damage, yes. Even though he did the 5th highest damage, he's way, way down on XP. Let's have a look at detail. 9 shots fired, 3 direct hits, no penetration, 18 splash. Damage of 2,784 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. He received 1 hit, it was a penetration, it was a kill shot, and 1 hit by way of splash from the enemy Arty, worked out where he was and managed to land a round near him. 6 enemy vehicles were damaged, no kills, and 204 hit points of stun assist. That's all he managed to get, and 18 stuns. In fact, actually, it was 204 hit points of damage assist, not stun assist. He got no stun assist in that battle whatsoever. 28,926 credits from the game, and after repair and ammunition resupply, he actually made a loss of 26,471 credits. He received 402 XP, but that's all he took away. As he said, the games of the future, I think he's anticipating basically what I was anticipating, that if you get a really bad game, as you did in both this one and the previous one, where you're not scoring enough stun assist, you're not going to be able to generate the XP or the credits, which means your battle experience will be very poor. You won't generate enough, and you won't be able to keep progressing in the game. And the worry there is, of course, that if somebody's not progressing, they're eventually going to say, well, is it really worth my continuing the game? I'm putting in the effort, but I'm just not getting the reward out of it. And I'm not getting the reward that I used to get because Wargaming have changed the rules. And they've nerfed Arty consistently, persistently, throughout its entire existence. They've always been nerfing Arty. But this nerf, the intended one from the sandbox, is probably the biggest nerf that they've ever applied to any class of vehicles. This is all of the heavy Arty in the game. Anything 15 centimeter and above is going to be nerfed. And basically the effect of this nerf is going to be that Arty will no longer be enjoyable. The tanks will find it much more fun for them, but it would be very bad for the Arty players, and 20% of the player base could decide, well, they don't want to play the game anymore. So Wargaming has to think to themselves, you know, if we make these changes effective, or if we make all of these changes effective, you could lose a lot of players. If you make some of the changes but make some adjustments, you might be able to still keep some of those players in the game. I mean, one of the things I would suggest is that standard HE shells should always have the same stun that they've always had in the past. If you reduce the damage on those standard HE shells, you shouldn't be reducing them by much, but you must consequently increase the damage substantially on the special shells, even if you are going to reduce the stun on those. And they should still do stun, because they are HE shells, so they should still have some stun element, but a reduced stun element for them, but they do more damage as a result. So obviously what you're doing there is you're compensating the player for the loss of his stun by more damage. So therefore he will be able to make up what he would have got before, but he'll have to do it by damaging the tank, not by stunning it. And then lastly, on the armor piercing ones, well, you've got to give those commensurate values that balance it out with the tanks which also have high caliber shells. So if a tank has a 155mm shell, such as say the T30 or any of the T110E3, E4, they've got a 155mm gun which will do 750 alpha. So the armor piercing round on an M53, M55, also with a 155mm gun, should have exactly the same. But if it's a 8-inch howitzer or 203mm caliber, it must have a shell that does almost as much damage, if not much more damage, than you would get from an FV4005. Maybe not as much as the FV4005 doing with the with the squash head round, but as much as the FE4005 would do with the solid round. Let's have a look at that right now, because we can check this sort of data straight off. If I go into there it is, straight away. Now if we go in the armor piercing round, there you can see the armor piercing round on the FE4005, that's a 183mm round, okay, and the M53-M55's got an 8-inch howitzer, or rather the M55 has, so it's a bigger shell than the 183 you've got on the Stage 2. So the armor piercing damage for that 8-inch round should be, at the very least, it should be 1150. That should be the bottom end of the range of the damage it should be doing. So the top end of the range should be anywhere between 1300 hit points, and at the top end of the range should be maybe 25% or slightly more on top. So you should be capable of taking out or putting a damage in for, say, 1500 hit points if you got a direct hit and a penetrator on the enemy. And the penetration, again, the penetration values has to match the rounds for these tanks. I know that some of these tanks do fire high velocity rounds. You can see here that the shell velocity on this shell here is 830 meters per second. If we look at the we'll go have a quick look at the shell velocity for the Arty. Shall we take the Object 261? Okay, you can see the shell velocity is down, but 510 meters per second. So it's slightly lower in velocity, but remember, this is the HE round, so it's actually going quite slowly through the atmosphere until it reaches, obviously, the target. If you were firing an armor piercing round, you'd expect the velocity to be slightly higher, but then on the other side of the coin, it's a much bigger shell, so I'd still expect it to have the same sort of penetration values. But remember, the shell is coming in from above as well, so it's not going to hit the tank square in the face. It's actually going to come in from above and hit the frontal plate where it doesn't have any equivalence value. So it's not an angled armor, because it's actually hitting it square on. And so although it might have angled front plates, the shell is going to go straight through that, almost perpendicular to the plane. So it's going to have better penetration when it's coming in from above. And that's why I think if you're going to put armor piercing shells in the game, they've got to have a value that matches the actual performance of high caliber tanks elsewhere in the game. So that's my that is my alarm going off. Yeah, so that's my rant over, but I hope you enjoyed the battles for Talon. I know I went off on a tangent there to actually point out that this is what the mistakes that Wargaming can make. I actually am going to do a full video on the sandbox and my impressions, because they didn't send me the questionnaire, and I suspect that may have been because I wasn't actually I was spending all my time in the sandbox rather than actually on the actual game. I haven't played in the actual client on the normal servers for quite some time, not even today yet. But anyway, I will give that video later on, and I hope you enjoyed this video with Talon, and you accept my rant as well. I do sometimes like to vent, and if you did enjoy this replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel, leave a comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.